Welcome to the Natural Genius podcast. We're here to help you tap into your natural genius. Let's go. I'm about to meet the treat who is Michelle Crawford. We first met when I was seeking a venue for the Do Lectures in Australia. We met through a mutual friend in Tasmania. We've gone on to catch up rarely. Each time it has been a lush experience created through the warm and welcoming Michelle, usually with fantastic coffee with cream in it or something homemade and cooked that's absolutely delicious, through to sweet travels around her Tasmania, eating incredible stone fruit that drips down our wrists because it's so lush. She's an absolute inspiration. She has worked in many different creative ventures and is propelled to continue to create beautiful space for others. She is easefully generous and absolutely to be admired the way she can showcase beauty in her imagery and words. I really hope you enjoy hearing the two of us. Absolutely excited to see each other again, and I hope you enjoy being inspired by Michelle. Michelle Crawford, welcome to the Natural Genius podcast. What a complete pleasure to see each other. It's been way too long.
It has been a long time, but thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Pleasure. And you've been such an angel to me. You've been my Tassie angel, having met years gone by, and then I think I might have popped past your place with maybe 3 different people and then have recommended a few others to you. And each time we've had like either great adventures in your beautiful homestead or traveling together, eating incredible stone fruit with it dripping down our wrists, which is always the great way to eat stone fruit, especially in the amazing Tassie. When I was reflecting on who you are and who I know you to be, I was just thinking about this amazing diverse or portfolio life and career and all these creative ventures that you've been propelled into. Tell me how you come to be so creative and tell me about this latest venture.
Wow, starting off with the big one.
You can start off with any small part of that if you like, I don't mind. Yeah. Or even just say, "Hey Sam, it's great to catch up."
Well, I'll start with the building because I just love talking about the building. So we, back in the end of 2019, bought this old bank in the little riverside village of Franklin in the Huon Valley, so about 45 minutes south of Hobart. It was built in 1905, so it's a big 22-room Edwardian bank. Called the Bowmont, that's had a very checkered history. It's been everything from, it was a backpackers when we bought it, but it had been an antique store, it's been a derelict eyesore, it's been a hospital. So it's had this very checkered past. And so we moved to, when we lived in a little homestead, a little weatherboard homestead, which in Tassie when we moved from Sydney, which was perfect for raising 2 children and giving them that sort of idyllic childhood that we wanted. But as they grew up, we kind of needed a new challenge. And this building just seemed to be the perfect place where I could utilise all the skills that I have with styling and photography and hosting in one building. So since we've been here, it's just it's been an amazing place where I can spread my interior styling wings. So, 22 rooms to play with. The building's designed, we've set it up into 3 separate spaces. So an Airbnb apartment upstairs, a studio creative space downstairs, and then we live in the back of the building. So we host workshops here, photo shoots, pop-up dinners, and it's been great to have a home that I can utilize all those skills and work for myself. So
Incredible. And tell me about the start of the project. How did you work out to divide it in that way? And did you start with certain rooms and then go, okay, that room's done, let's move on to the next? Like, tell me more. How do you go from backpackers to where you are now?
Yeah, so the way we stumbled, like, so we knew the building, like when it was an antique store, we used to come here all the time, and it had been on the market for about 18 months. And we actually had gone down the path to we bought a farm. We bought 25 acres on the river and was very inspired by places like the Do Lectures, where they host their events, and Forest. So I kind of wanted to create something like that. So, you know, a place where you could host events, like a versatile old shed that could be converted into all different sorts of purposes, and you know, sort of camping, glamping, cabin type situation. And we went a long way down that path to make that happen on paper. And then when we were ready to build, it was just, you know, it just didn't feel right. It was too expensive. We were having to make so many compromises on the original vision. And then I just thought about this building and I thought, you know, no one wants it. We can still have a multi-purpose event space. We can still have accommodation. We can still have somewhere to live, but it's already built. It's pretty ugly, but I know once I strip back all it to the bones, it's a really beautiful building. So we sort of abandoned the idea of the farm and kind of bought this building instead. So we kind of already knew how we could make it work. Plus I had to convince my husband before we actually bought it. So,
Thanks,
yeah,
Leo.
yeah, thanks, Leo. So yeah, we kind of, we could sort of slightly shift that vision of what we wanted to do and make it work in an existing building.
Amazing. Where do you think that your beautiful creativity and drive to style, to photograph, to write, to create incredible experiences for others comes from?
That's a good question. I guess I've always felt happiest in a space that is beautiful, like even since I was a child. Like, I'm very sensitive to the surroundings and what things look like, and I get quite anxious if I have to be in a place that doesn't feel good to me. And it's, as I get older, it's becoming more and more stronger. My tolerance for being in a space that's not right is decreasing. So, and I guess I've just been lucky to have worked, like my career path has just been all over the place, but I've been so fortunate to work with people that have not only inspired me, but encouraged me to, and noticed those particular skills and encouraged me to develop them. So I guess it's innate, but it's also being fortunate to be in positions where I can develop those skills as I go along.
It really feels like your community there is part of that secret sauce in terms of the people that you surround yourself with and the environment, maybe nature, maybe proximity, or I don't know, even things like great antique stores or markets, or people just having that propensity or that kind of interest in creating beautiful things. I wonder, tell me more about those around you that help to support that.
Yeah, I guess Tasmania does have that, but to me, I find the landscape and the emptiness of it, like there's no one here, and you can actually be alone in your own thoughts, which is probably more powerful than sort of being by people. So it's so easy. You drive 15 minutes and you're in the most beautiful natural environment and you cannot hear a thing. Like, how rare is that, where there is complete silence and the only thing you can hear is your ears ringing? Like, to me, that's such a powerful motivator in creativity. When you're feeling burnt out,
Wow.
just need to get away from everything. So I think as much as I'm inspired and encouraged by the things around me, definitely having the ability to step away and just breathe, like embrace that beautiful, powerful natural environment is so beneficial. I think it's for creativity.
Oh, how wonderful. And so how did you decide to move to, what brought about the move from Sydney down to Tassie as opposed to anywhere else in the world?
Probably, to be honest, it was probably financial. So when we were looking to buy a house, like Tasmania was super cheap. So we were living in Sydney in the inner west. We had a baby, and we were looking to do a tree change, as they used to call them back then.
Vernacular, yeah.
And we looked within that 2-hour radius of Sydney, and nothing felt right. And we also didn't know what work we wanted to do. Like, I knew I wanted to work in food, but I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. And my husband was just happy to go with the flow, luckily. And then it was October 2004. Our daughter was 18 months old. We came to Hobart to visit friends for a weekend, and they took us, sightseeing. We went for drives, saw snow, saw beautiful apple orchards, ate incredible food, and we just fell in love. So we moved back to Sydney, quit our jobs, gave notice on our house that we were renting, and by the 1st of December, we'd moved here. Like, we just put everything in a ship.
Oh, amazing.
So we just knew it felt right. The thing with Hobart was that you're in a capital city, so, theoretically there's more work, and within half an hour you can be in this incredible rural or regional environment, but you're still half an hour to a capital city. So it ticked all that box. Yeah.
Talking about great food, I remember when you a couple of times took us for that amazing sushi.
Oh, yes.
And ate that in this beautiful deserted beach, but it was the most amazingly curated, like, beautiful looking sushi I think perhaps I've ever had. And then since then I've heard of growing wasabi in Tassie as well. And tell me about the produce down there and what's delighting you around what you're observing with things like that popping up.
Yeah, it's interesting. So you've got the old school stone fruit and apples, which is still, the industry's changed, but it's still thriving. So there's a lot of organic growers now and a lot of people growing heritage apple trees, sort of get it and sort of catering to a smaller market as opposed to trying to compete in the supermarkets. We have there's a lot of market gardeners popping up, which is just delightful to me. Like, we get a box of incredible vegetables delivered every week from a farm just down the road, and they plant really a good mix of unusual vegetables like radicchio and lots of obscure Asian greens, but then you also get your carrots and your cabbages. So it's a really good blend, and that just feels like Christmas every Friday when the box because it's just been picked that morning, and it's just amazing. So I'm
special.
I know, I'm loving seeing that take off and grow, and people really embrace that. But the funny thing in the Huon Valley lately is the whole roadside bread fridge. Like, there are all these bakers opening up these roadside stalls where they put their produce, it's an honesty box, in old fridges. So I think it started on Bruny Island. There's a baker there, but the Huon Valley has embraced the bread fridge, and they've all gone viral. So you have to get there at 8 a.m. because
oh my God, this is gorgeous.
On social media, but you can get the most delicious sourdough bread and the most incredible cakes and biscuits and croissants, and This is, yeah, it's a
Nothing
real,
done. You could just travel around and just
I
open
know.
the fridges with your cash in hand.
Well,
How
some of them are really
fun.
sophisticated. They've got, one of them's got like a till on a stand, like a big iPad, and you just pop in what you buy, and then you tap your card, and they're all, yeah. It's such a great, I don't know, it's such a great trend, and I'm pretty excited by it. You just
Oh,
break
wow.
bread at your disposal. Yeah.
Well, I know for me, being in different places around the world, one of the great things is good bread
Oh, it's
and good market food. And tell me, when I was there, I've noticed this in New Zealand as well, certain growers don't bother to get the organic certification because it's too expensive. Is that still the case? Do people?
yeah. So they can call it chemical free, or some do, but yeah, there's definitely, and I know my grower is so organic because it's just full of, like, quite often there's, slugs and worms, and I feel guilty because I've taken, our veg has so much of their little critters. I want to give them back. But yeah, it's still, there's a lot of admin, there's a lot of hoops to jump through when you're trying to get certification, and the margins are so small.
Yeah,
I just think for a lot of growers, especially if they're selling direct to consumers, and
yeah.
a lot of them are always open for you to come and visit and see where it's grown. And if you need that proof, this is to see where your food comes from. And sort of, yeah, I think a lot of growers opt for that.
And still plenty of cherries down there as well as those
Oh,
great
yeah.
apples. So
Cherries are
good to
so
hear.
good.
Before, when I was saying that the stone fruit was dripping down our wrists, was with the beautiful Jen Goss. It was massive, so flavoursome peaches.
Yes.
It's so lovely to talk about curation and being in spaces where they have to be beautiful. I feel like we're so lucky these days. I've got another dear friend, Michelle, who never ever posts on Instagram, and she is a beautiful cook and has amazing ceramics in her home, and her home is just so perfectly curated. I'm lucky enough to get photos from her here and there that are the bowls that has the figs with ricotta, and then there's maybe something on top, and then there's basil, like she's popped basil on top instead of anything else. And I just love her usualness around curation and beauty.
I love the sound of that.
I love that you share yours. I still have such joy in my memory bank of us sitting around, and I think your dog Patch, like, running around, and like us drinking beautiful coffee. You humbly create and naturally generate, getting things done and making things happen. What do you think that you would say to that person in Sydney in the western suburbs, or it's somebody who is appreciative of beauty like you are and wondering whether to take the leap?
It's difficult, isn't it? Because, I mean, we just did it. We just took the leap. And we say that when we moved down here, we had no jobs, no money, and no idea. Like, that was kind of, but Tassie's got a bit of there's something magical about Tassie, and maybe it's because it's a smaller place. But when you're used to hustling in Sydney, where it's so competitive, you can sort of come down to Tassie and put your foot off the accelerator and just do 100% instead of, like, and you'll do really well. But and yeah, and someone said that to me when we first moved here. Just, if you just do what you do and do it and put in a reasonable amount of effort, you'll do really well, which is something I found to be true. But yeah, it's always, there's all people have so many complications in their lives, don't they? Things that are holding them back, whether it's financial or family or emotional. But at the end of the day, like, you just really do have to do what makes you happy, I think. And even if it is just a small part of what you do, but it's, and I think the other thing that you do is there's this expectation that you have to be perfect from the get-go. You have to be really good from the start. And people, I'm 57. Like, I've been working at this for a long time. Like, this just didn't happen overnight. Like, I've been working on being Michelle Crawford for, 50, 70.
God, you're divine.
So, I've got a 23-year-old daughter who's like, oh, I'm so, I've missed the boat. I'm too old to go to university. What am I going to do if I start uni now? I'll be 28 by the time I get my degree.
Oh, darling.
I just think people need to give them and I have so many friends at the same age that we're just, we've had our career out of school, and then we've had children, we've raised kids, and the kids have grown up, and it's only now that we're in our 50s and early 60s that we're actually just hitting our stride. So if anything, my advice would be just to allow yourself the time to get where it is that you want to be, and as the years go by, your skills set gets better and better, and you become a truer version of who you are.
Oh, such beautiful words. When I read your LinkedIn before, I love the way that you create continuity through those different experiences. How do you think that the kids have been influenced by both Tassie and the various things that Mum and Dad have done?
For my daughter, I think she's not afraid to take a risk, even though she has a lot of anxiety, but she's not afraid to, she moved to the UK and lived in the Scottish Highlands for 12 months. And she's just, she went traveling throughout Europe on her own, not speaking the language. I think that, maybe that confidence is something that she got from, being in Tasmania and just being outdoors, going on hikes, but also being surrounded by a parent and friends who were creatives and sort of carving their own path. I think that's probably had an influence on her, even though she's not quite sure, what she wants to do or what direction she wants to take. I think that's given her a really good grounding.
What did she see around the Scottish Highlands? Why did she decide to be there?
She got a job in a hotel. It was on a famous walk in Scotland, and it was one of the stops. So during the warmer months, it would be people coming for 1 or 2 nights on there while they were doing this walk, and then in winter it was Scottish events, weddings mostly. So lots of winter weddings and but the most incredible landscape, nothing else around. In Glencoe, this beautiful valley with massive mountains, and just an incredible part of the world.
Oh, wow. Yeah. I have absolutely loved my time in various parts of that amazing island. It's the craft and tell me about your inspirations these days, because it reminds me of Forrest, for example, and Shard and the amazing blankets that she sourced. Tell me what you love looking at around the world these days.
So I've been fortunate to do a lot of travelling in the last couple of years, because Elsa was living over there. So I went to Scotland, we went to Ireland, went to Italy, and then I went on a work trip to Japan a couple of months ago. It's that sense of what I loved, I guess what I took away was that the craft and the history of the craft and how ancient it is, a lot of it, especially in Japan and in the Scottish Isles. Just the whole, and the amount of people who are passionate about maintaining that craft in a world of disposability and emu. There's still people who take great joy from making things that are slow and of the place. I think that's what is so lovely to see in remote places, or where I've been anyway. Tell
me about some of the objects that you've loved, because you're reminding me of coffee cups that had the pinches so that the fingers would fit perfectly into them. Tell me about objects that you've seen that have just delighted you.
It's probably the textiles more than anything. They're the weaving, people using natural plant materials for the dyeing, that was very big in Ireland. The ceramics in Kyoto, but the whole kimono the way the kimonos are made, the amount of hands that the piece of fabric goes through, like specialists, like someone who does the drawing, someone who colours it in, someone who does the outline, someone who does the embroidery. There is this long trail of hands that go towards making one beautiful piece of kimono. Like that, I think, struck me as such an inspiring and beautiful way to make things.
It makes me wonder if you go places with empty suitcases, Michelle, so that you can bring things home. Oh my goodness.
I know, it's tricky, isn't it? Never enough, that's for sure. I bought one of the favourite things that I bought was all this antique hotel cutlery, flatware from Florence. So beautiful, like a bit knackered and scratched, but it's silver. And then the knives, the handles are silver and the blade is stainless steel. But I was showing a friend and she said, yeah, that's because they removed the blade and would replace it, you know, rather than replace the hole. So it's this, I just love that notion of repairing. Even a fancy hotel in Italy would repair their knives rather than throw them out and buy just, you know, new things.
I wonder if we love that partly because of the link to times gone by. Tell me about each room there and the different styling that you've done, the objects or the pieces. How lucky for the people to be coming into that environment there to be able to have the bonus of your curation from different places.
When we first got here, the upstairs is a 2-bedroom apartment that would have been built for the bank manager. It's the bank manager's residence. So that is, when you stay here, you have this 2-bedroom apartment upstairs. That you get the whole top floor. So that was the first area that we approached. When we bought the building, because it's heritage listed, I did a bit of research online at the Tas Library archives, and there are all these photographs listed, but not catalogued, but not the actual photograph that hadn't been uploaded. So I had to book an appointment and tick which photographs I wanted to see. So I had to make it up and went into this beautiful room upstairs at the Tassie State Library, you know, bookshelf, like old cases lined with books. And they brought out this tiny little photo album about this big, that was owned by this man called Bernard Walker, who was a quite famous architect in the early 20th century in Tasmania. And it was his photo album filled with photos of the Bowmont in different stages of being built.
Wow.
But it was also filled with photos of him having picnics in the bush, or rowing boats with friends, like on the river, like little rowboats, and having a picnic, or running on a beach, like that beach that we went to, with these women in those Edwardian outfits, bare feet, like running along the beach. Just divine. So
it sounds like a bit of a mashup of your life and your farm as well. So it was kind of like a through line for you as to when
he's like the muse for upstairs. So when I had Bernard in my mind to a point, because you have to embellish who Bernard was, because, you know, so
who doesn't love a great story?
Yeah. So he was the president or chairman of the Arts and Craft Tasmanian chapter. So a big William Morris fan. He was part of the group of people that established the Tasmanian Natural Preservation Board, which turned into national parks. So he was very passionate about creating national parks.
Interesting.
And also just obviously loved being outdoors, but he spent time in London at the turn of the century. So he was obviously influenced by arts and crafts and William Morris. So that I sort of had Bernard in the back of my mind when I decorated upstairs. So it's like, if I ever got stuck, what would Bernard do? Like, you know, what would Bernard pick? And almost make it feel like you're staying at his house, like he's gone away, like this. So there's like a display cabinet with shells and fossils and books on natural walks and
well played.
kind of, you know, few oars lying around and a fishing rod, but also I kind of like to mix it up a bit and hope that Bernard was inspired by Bauhaus and the modernist movement. So you'll get a bit of, mid-century chairs and a bit of contemporary street art to just, not so it looks like a museum to Bernard, but he's sort of like the thread that helped me make that decision.
Gorgeous.
Yeah.
Aww.
Yeah.
I'm glad to hear street art came in there, because earlier in our conversation, graffiti came to mind, and I was thinking, why is graffiti coming to mind?
Yeah, well, you've got to mix it up a bit, because you don't want it just to look like a 1910.
You're a progressive gal.
Yeah, and I hope that Bernard was too. Well, my Bernard was. Yeah, I don't know whether the real one was, but. Yeah.
Cooking must still be part of your world. What have you been cooking lately, and what are you enjoying?
It certainly is. And it's been lovely hosting. We've had some amazing dinners here recently. We did a little event with a cookbook author, Emiko Davis, based on her book Tortellini at Midnight, where we created, we kind of pretended it was midnight because we're almost at the solstice, and it's so dark. So we just had, beautiful pasta.
Midnight would have been a long time to wait, hey?
Yeah, so it was 7-ish, midnight-ish. That was a really lovely event, and it was great to have someone from Tuscany come and be inspired by the Huon Valley and the way we use food. Because sometimes, especially because I've been travelling, and you come back and you go, oh, God, it's, why aren't I living in Rome, or why aren't I living in Kyoto? It's all so cool.
Special that happened.
To have someone come and be really impressed with our produce and the way that we use it was very reaffirming, and that, yes, I actually am in the right place. But yeah, so we're coming into the winter season now, so still eating lots of apples and quinces and nuts and leafy greens, and lots of slow cooking. We've had a lot of photo shoots here lately for big brands, so it's been nice to cater for the cruise. So I just love making focaccia and good sandwiches and nice cakes, and still always thinking about food and cooking.
Oh, yum.
Yeah.
I'm so pleased to hear that people have found your place. For a photo shoot, sometimes you need various objects, so I can imagine that it'd be great to be able to go, hey, Michelle, we need a knife from Italy.
Totally. It's the clients that we get just love it, that they've got all these things to play with, and it's
how did they find you to start with? How did you get the name out there about Bowmont?
It's really hard to track, isn't it? Like, I don't know, and you just have to keep peddling and hope, like, all those little moments contribute to the memory of someone. I've got no idea how people find me. Some friends, a lot of people come down to Franklin. We're across the road from the river, and it's just so beautiful. And then they see this crazy building, and hopefully they Google what it is.
I even looked on Instagram before we got on to this call, and I looked at the latest photo that you had, or it might be a pinned one. It just reminded me of Wes Anderson, and I thought, gosh, you're so clever to be able to create imagery that looks into the details, and then also in all different genres like Wes Anderson as well.
Well, it's such a beautiful building. Like, I just love living here, and I love being the custodian of this building, but it is just so handsome. The proportions are beautiful. The light's beautiful. Yeah, it's a pretty special building.
Wow. And what comes next for the Bowmont and for life?
I really am not a planner. I wish I was, but and it's really interesting. I've been working, writing an interiors book, working with a photographer and a stylist. So it's their book, but they paid me to write the text, the stories about all these buildings. And it was quite an intense project, and it took up a lot of bandwidth, and it was very much a lot of editing, toing and froing, and design. And once it was designed, you had to re-edit. It was constant. Like, every couple of weeks there'd be emails. Can you reply to this? Can you respond to this? Within days. So it's almost like I had no other work because, and not that I put this out to the universe, but it meant that I could respond and, do this work when it needed to be done in a timely manner. And then the book went off to the printer, and within a week, I had 9 jobs come in. Like, that never happened. Like, 9 jobs. And I was talking to I met this woman, and she said, just randomly, she said, now that my book's gone, I think I've let the universe know that my energy can now be ready to accept new work, and I've been really busy. And because she's just written a book as well. And I thought, oh my God, that's exactly what happened to me too. It's almost like the universe looked after you and kept you broke, but
Oh
you
gosh,
had no other
Michelle.
work coming in.
Well,
But then all of a sudden, what? Like, now I'm sort of, which is what happens with when you work freelance. It's feast or famine. But it was just so interesting. The minute that the publisher said it's gone to print, yay, we got that email, that the phone started ringing, and all of a sudden all this work came in. So, and I always think I need to be a little bit more plan and talk, like do a marketing plan for the next 12 months and do a list of, a roster of events for the next 12 months, but I never get around to doing that. But that is, we have 4 or 5 events coming up over the next 4 months. So working on a little bit of writing, but whenever I have downtime, it's when I get to turn my attention to the Bowmont and my own business and start thinking about marketing and visibility, and what can I do to create more awareness.
it's such an interesting perspective that you just shared, because the more I meet different people, Michelle, the more I think that people are driven in terms of time in different ways. To be able to trust your gut instinct and to be able to create in the moment is something that hopefully is increasingly understood as a skill or as another great way to be. I really do love at the moment, there's a lot more online about productivity comes through those rest periods as well.
Yes.
To be able to have fallow ground for a while.
Oh, you have to winter. Oh, yeah, you just take your cue from nature, like the trees, everything shuts down. Like, I think it's really important as a human to do that, especially when you work for yourself, because you don't give yourself holidays necessarily and you don't schedule those in. But it's so important.
Yeah, well said. Thank you so much for all the inspiration. Is there anything we might not have covered?
No, I think I don't really have, because the book's, I don't know, it's supposed to be coming out in the fall. It's a US publisher. And
I can tell in the fall.
It's coming out their fall. And it's a book on adaptive reuse, so buildings that were built with a former purpose that have been reinvented as a place where people live without completely eradicating the building's previous purpose. So they've used what was there and created a home. So some really special homes in that building. It was a joy to work on that project. So many beautiful homes all around the world and really amazing people.
Oh my gosh, you're part of another amazing network. And to think of your body of work in your lifetime, like how many different projects you've worked on.
Yeah, but fundamentally, I think it all has that thread of storytelling, like whether it's styling, writing, cooking, it's all about creating experiences or creating a feeling that a person would feel by eating or seeing or being in my work. I think it's about, that's the common thread, I think.
I wonder if we'll ever get to the stage of having these online, like digital galleries where all of Michelle's amazing newsletters or blog posts and photos and then spaces and then different events you've had. Imagine being able to like wander into this big expanse of all of your body of work.
It's an interesting conundrum in a digital world, isn't it? Because so much of what we do now, we spend so much energy creating something so disposable, and that's why it's such a privilege to write a book, because it's something tangible that will last technically for a long time. Events I love because you're creating a moment and a feeling, and I don't care if I didn't ever take a photo. I just love the fact that people have been there and it's been this special experience and moment that you didn't feel the need to record and post on social media because you just lived in the moment, and those events are so special to me. The memories, it's nice just to have them.
Such beautiful words.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you so much for your time. It is
thank
just
you,
so
Sam.
lovely to reunite, and
It's been a delight to see your face.
Inspiration. I so look forward to releasing this conversation so that others can be inspired.
I hope somebody finds a little nugget of inspiration.
A little nugget. We love some nuggets. Thanks for listening to the Natural Genius podcast. Please share this with anyone who came to mind and visit us at naturalgenius.com.au. Thanks so much.